Last week I read Anne Carson's Plainwater, which includes a large section about her experience walking the Camino de Santiago, something that I myself have also done about a decade ago. Until recently, I probably would have considered it the only great time in my adult life. It was important, it felt good to me, and it was nice to read someone else, another poet. It's obviously a much better poet than me, sort of writing about it too. Maybe want to revisit the writing I did on that trip, which I haven't yet done. But I also thought I would just quickly do a little reading from The Pleasure of Regret, my book, sort of about my experience on that walk. Once I felt free and kissed a woman in a park. Once I felt free and kissed a woman in a pub. Once I felt free and walked 500 miles and then walked 200 more across the north of Spain, appropriating a dying religion's pilgrimage in the hope that it would pull me out of depression. For a while it did. It gave me a sense of purpose. Every day I would wake up in the dark and dress silently, talking to no one, and I would walk, do nothing but walk, just walk and walk and walk until the sun was so high in the sky it burnt the backs of my hands and the top of my bald head, and it dried out my body and made me feel sick. I walked and walked with this sense of purpose, this sense that what I was doing had a point, and I had to keep walking because for the first time in my adult life I literally knew where I was going, what was happening to me. There was nothing that could stop it, nothing, and I didn't have to worry, and I didn't have to feel stressed or anxious, and if the hostel I planned to sleep in was full, I would just walk further towards my destination, ever onwards, ever closer to something achievable, something that would mean I could qualify to be a priest if I ever found God. And if I was ever going to find God, I'd find God while doing a pilgrimage, right? But of course I didn't find him or her or it. All I found was a sober sense of purpose, even though that purpose was a meaningless caesura from my real life. Being a pilgrim was the best month of my life. It was the only month of my life since childhood where I wasn't constantly in fear of social interactions and what people might say to me. When I was a pilgrim, it didn't matter that I had no hope for the future, that there was a home I had to return to after Santiago that was cold and horrible and angry. When I was a pilgrim, I had purpose. When I was a pilgrim, I had a respite, and I always had the option to throw myself off the cathedral at the end. I obviously didn't throw myself off the cathedral, but I sort of did that experience, that pilgrimage, sort of knowing that I was entering into a dark period of my life, and the message in hindsight that I sort of feel is if I knew that, why didn't I do anything to stop it? Why did I merely take a pause, take a break outside of the disaster I was in? And I don't know. I didn't feel that I could. Didn't feel possible. And I suppose really it's taken me a long time after that walk, which was almost a decade ago, 9 years ago this summer, that I actually sort of felt able to do things in this last year, sort of since this baby arrived into my life. I've done more, right? I've tried more. And I think it's because, like before, my self-esteem was so low that it stopped me from doing things to make my life better, because I didn't feel I deserved that. I felt I deserved to be miserable and unhappy and trapped and stuck. Whereas with it, oh no! Just as I'm getting serious, the baby starts to make a little noise. It's nearly his nap time. We've got to be heading back soon. But yeah, until the baby was here, I didn't feel that I deserved sort of happiness and satisfaction. But with the baby, I very much feel that that if I don't have that, it's gonna fuck his life up, right? If I'm a sad, bitter, unhappy loser, he's gonna be sad and unhappy and not feel like life is worth living, and I can't pass that on. It has to fucking stop, right? It has to stop with me, which means I have to change, and I wouldn't change for myself because I didn't feel like I deserved it for myself. But this little guy, he deserves to not have, an unhappy parent. Thank you so much for watching, and do read Anne Carson's Plainwater, or Scott Manley Hadley's The Pleasure of Regret. Thanks, bye.